Hello class, in this video we'll be taking a look at Axis SimNet Pause and Practice 3-2, Axis Pause and Practice 3-2, okay? For this you will need the file from the previous lesson, um, Axis Pause and Practice 3-1, which I have it open here. In that you have two tables and three queries that we created from the last class, okay? Let's go on to task 2. We're going to save a new copy of the database. So we're going to save it as save database as, we're going to save it as pause and practice 3-2. Okay. Then we're going to save it on desktop. I'm just going to save it here. Next one is enable the content in the database. When it says enable content, if it says click enable content, make sure it's editable. Then we create a query in a query design. Okay. So we go to create, we click on query design here and then click on that, and now we're going to select the agents table and the listings table. Okay, so first add one table and then select the second one, click add at the bottom and close this. Okay, so now we have added these two tables and close the show table dialog box. Okay, now let's just increase the table size so we can see all the fields. So just make sure that you just increase it such a way that you're able to see all the fields. Okay, now let's double click on first name in the agent database. So it gets automatically added in the query. The last name, again, let's double click last name. And then we are going to continue adding the fields, listing ID, which is here, and then square feet, address, city, and list price. So city and list price. So if you carefully see, all of them have been added here in that order. Okay, right, now click the save button and save the query. So you can either save it here or you could save it, right click here. Okay, anyway, you could save the query, save it, rename the query as listings by Rick Chung. Okay, Rick Chung, sorry, there's a spelling error. Okay, Rick Chung, and click OK. So now there is a new queries called listings by Rick Chung, which we have created. Now we're going to add a criteria to that. So type Rick in the criteria in the first name field. So let's go to the first name. The query is still here. In the first name criteria, you just have to type Rick, R-I-C-K, and type Chung in the last name, C-H-U-N-G. Okay, and then run the query. Let's run the query. If you click run here, automatically it returns all the listings which have the criteria Rick Chung in the first and the last name. Okay, so that's one. Let's go to the next click the view button in the home tab. So you go to the view button and then click on design view. Okay, you can go on design view and then you can switch back anytime you want. Okay, you can switch back to datasheet view or you can switch back to design view whenever you want in the view button. Okay, right, next let's go to the next task, editing the query to add and sorting and modifying show options. Okay, so click sort. Let's go back to the view button and let's click view button and let's go to the design view. So now we are in the design view. So let's go to click sort row cell in the drop down arrow. So let's go to the city field. So the city field is here. Let's go down to the sort menu. So there is a sort menu here. The third one, if you see, this is the sort menu, but in the city field, we are going to click sort and then we are going to say ascending. Okay, so we are changing the new criteria here and deselect the show button in the first name. See, if you see the show button here, these are the things that are shown. So if you don't want a particular field to be shown, you can uncheck this. So let's uncheck the show button here and then deselect the show in the last name also. Okay, so save changes to the query and the query will look something like this, and as in the picture. Now let's run the query. If you see now, the first name and the last name will not be shown, but the rest of the fields will be shown, even though it is under the criteria, Rick Chung, it will only show the particulars that are, you've made it to show. Okay, right. Let's go to the next task, which is task 8. Create a new query in design view. Okay, so let's go to query design, create query design, and then select the listings table, click add. Okay, then click close. Now this time we are adding only one table, and we're going to create a query. Okay, so now we're going to go increase the size of the field, the box, so we are able to see everything. And then we go to double click on listing ID. So listing ID appears here. Continue adding the following fields in the design grid. So address in the same order, city, list price, and square feet, beds, baths, garage. So it doesn't matter what order it appears here. Whatever you mention here is the order you're going to see that in the query. Let's save the query as listings for Brandon Buchanan. Okay, so right click this and save. So you're going to say listings for Brandon Buchanan. Okay, and click OK. So that saves. So now you have a new query called Brandon Buchanan. Okay, right. So queries are to extract data from a larger table based on a criteria you're giving. Okay, so let's go. Add a criteria. A client, Brian Buchanan, is looking for homes in Rockland and Roseville only. Okay, so basically there is a criteria that he wants, shouldn't exceed 550,000. If the house is in Rockland, well, he wants to, in Brandon, he's willing to spend 600,000. So let's type Rockland in the city field area. Let's go and type Rockland. Okay, and in the list price, you could say less than or equal to 600,000. Okay, type less than or equal to 1800 in the criteria of square footage. So in the square footage, he wants anything greater than or equal to 1800. And then in the criteria row cell beds, it's got to be greater than 3, greater than or equal to 3, more than 3 beds. And then baths, it should say at least 2 baths. So greater than or equal to 2 in the bath section. In the garage section, you want at least to have a car garage. Okay, so the so you got to go type like, and then within quotations you type question mark car. Okay, so any word with a car in the garage field, it will appear. Okay, right. So type Roseville in the rows city field again. Okay, so go back to city field. Okay. In the row cell, let's go. Let's go. Now we're going to look at the next one. Type Roseville in the or row cell column. So there is a criteria, either Rockland, or we're going to type in the city, we're going to say Roseville. Okay, so we could say Roseville. This is the second criteria, the multiple criteria that we're giving. In the list price, we're going to say, let's just see. Okay, less than or equal to 550,000. So we're going to say equal to 550,000. Okay, and then in the square footage area, we're going to say greater than or equal to 1800. The rest of it is all the same. Criteria is all the same. So greater than or equal to 3 beds. This one is greater than or equal to 2. And then in the car garage, it's the same. So you could say like quotations question mark car. Okay, so after let's add sorting the query. If you want to sort it by list price or city. Okay, so let's see how to sort that by city. So go to city. In the city, in the sort section, click this and then click on ascending. And then in the list price, in the list price, you can go and sort it as descending. That means from highest to the lowest. After we add the descending, you will have to run the query. After you have completed all this in task 11, you can click the run and see all the records and save the file. Okay, so that's the end of this lesson. Thank you.